Our next presenter in the morning here is Al Johnson. Al Johnson is the Vice President of Prevention Field Services at WorkSafeBC. So Al.
Thanks, Mike. Everybody can hear me okay? Good morning. We're mid-morning right now. I hope everybody's sort of juiced up on coffee and maybe a little bit of sugar or a healthier snack. It's a big room, but I want everybody to realize there's about 450 of you in this room today, and that's truly remarkable. So a round of applause for all of yourselves for attending today. So certainly my pleasure to be here. I've been here for a few years and very much enjoy coming here because I find that this is the type of conference people are here because they want to be here. People are here because they want to give up some of their time because it's about health and safety. They truly are interested. There's been tremendous speakers over the years and very much so. It's a conference that I think is first class. So I just want to acknowledge that and say my thanks for allowing me to be here yet again this year, inviting me, and to the organizing committee that does a tremendous job every year. I'm honored to represent WorkSafeBC here because this is truly an event whose sole purpose is focused on health and safety. Each and every day, keeping people safe and healthy at work. All of you, too, who are here on a Saturday, as I've mentioned, your presence here, in fact, demonstrates your commitment to your industry, your commitment to your colleagues, and that truly is a powerful testament to your industry as a whole. I better take this thing. Some of you may know WorkSafeBC has been around for 100 years, and this particular year is our 100th anniversary. As we reflect on change, and Shane talked a lot about change in his presentation earlier, but as we reflect on change with respect to workers' compensation, a lot has changed, and a considerable element of that change has been around ownership, responsibility, and collaboration. We collaborate many ways today with employers, with workers, labor, certainly with industry associations and a lot of people just like yourselves, and we all share the same interest in promoting health and safety in BC and working together to address those challenges head-on that face us on a daily basis. A little more in particular, you know, we talk about change, and Shane gave you some idea of change over the generations, but there are some few areas that are very evident as we look at change over the last 100 years. Certainly the way we travel, I think everybody would appreciate that, has had considerable change. There's been change in how we communicate, certainly change in how we perform our work. But I want you to think a little bit about maybe the change about the way we think about health and safety today, and how we think about health and safety has changed over the years as well. You really can't think about health and safety today unless you think about safety leadership. And safety leadership is a couple of words that we toss around, but what does it really mean? And without going into a lot of detail, but being fairly brief, it's not about a set of rules, it's not about the binder, it's not about the designated person, the safety manager. What it is about, it's about people. It's about people and groups working together towards a common goal. It's about the health and safety practice on the job every day, and it belongs to all of us. And so I would conclude there by saying we are all safety leaders. And I need you to think about that and take that back to your workplaces. As an owner, as an employer, as a supervisor, a worker, a supplier, or even us as the regulator, whatever your title is, as a safety leader, you own safety. We need to be aware of the workplace hazards on a day-in, day-out basis. We need to call them out, and then we need to address them, fix them, take care of them, so that we work together to keep each other safe. You've probably heard that maintaining a safe workplace is a journey, not a destination, and I think most of you would probably agree to that. But I invite to ask yourselves, what kind of journey are you on? What is the journey that you or your organization is on right now to ensure a safe workplace? Your journey might take a couple of different paths. Certainly some companies say that safety is a top priority, and that's a good thing. Safety is a top priority. But sometimes, unfortunately, over time, priorities can ebb, they can flow, they can change, they can shift, and safety gets lost in the shuffle. Companies themselves, or organizations that call themselves world-class, say they have a world-class health and safety culture. For them, safety is more than a priority. Safety is a business safety is essential to their business, to the health of their business. Safety is a core value, and this core value shapes the behaviors, the decisions, and the organization's culture around embedding health and safety into everything else they do. Management or labor cannot drive an organization's behavior. For the culture of safety to flourish in any organization, it must be well ingrained throughout all levels of the organization and at every single level. In world-class safety organizations, everyone from the CEO to the operations manager to the frontline worker is a safety leader and knows why it's important. They're engaged in the planning, the implementation, the day-to-day activities. They know the fundamental purpose of health and safety leadership, and they seek out to be creative and innovative in ways to improve health and safety. They're nimble, constantly adjusting to their environment and challenging each other to maintain that core value on a daily basis. Don't you think we all want to be on that journey? It sounds like we should be, because it just makes some sense. In that spirit, I want to share a story with you, a short video, actually a little longer video, it's about 10 minutes, but it tells a great story about core value and about a safety journey. This is the story of Pinnacle Renewable Energy.
Safety makes you money. If other industries, whether it be healthcare, tourism, mining, would engage in a relationship with their governing body, like WorkSafe and Pinnacle Pellet has done, BC would be the safest, most productive place to live, work, and play.
Safety, it's a journey, it's not a destination. We have seen since 2014 a 70% reduction in our medical incident rate, a 80+% reduction in our lost time accident rate.
If you read the safety textbooks, everybody says, do the safety and it'll spill over. I had some experience with that and seen it when I'd worked in other companies, but nothing to the magnitude that I've seen in our journey so far.
In the sawmilling industry, they deal with logs. Their waste product is dust. Dust is very explosive, and we all have heard and know about the incidents at the sawmills. We deal with that dust on a day-to-day basis. We make our product from that dust.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Pinnacle. Today we're the world's third largest wood pellet producer. Pinnacle has 7 facilities and we have 300 employees located across BC. We take wood residue from sawmills and we compress it down to make small wood pellets.
The feed material that we make it with is residual, so it's sawdust, it's shavings. It's the stuff from the sawmill that they don't want.
We grind up the sawdust and run it through dryers, and then we press it.
Those wood pellets get used in commercial power generation in replacement of coal.
Our biggest customer is in UK. Our wood pellets produce the electricity for 1% of the entire UK grid.
I knew that I had a challenge here. When I first took the plant over, we had 2 WorkSafe related injuries. We had 3 outstanding orders. When I first drove on site, the sawdust pile in the yard was on fire. The pile across the highway was on fire, and we were not making production at the time.
I remember when I first came and I went out and talked to people in the plant. People were using things like having fires is just part of the business. And that didn't sit right with me.
The focus was on numbers, on dollars. You know, we were a new plant at the time. We needed to make a name for ourselves. There was a lot of things that were overlooked.
When I first started working at Pinnacle, the very first day I showed up, the fire department was there. There was hoses strung across. I couldn't even access the parking lot. And I'm thinking, oh, what have I got myself into? Maybe this isn't the wisest decision I've made to work here.
When we walked into Pinnacle plants in the early years, it was not uncommon to see combustible dust, sawdust, that would be 4, 5, 6 inches deep in areas, and especially if they'd had any sort of an upset condition. All of a sudden, the room would basically be full of dust. And when I'm talking about full of dust, it looked like it was snowing.
Well, I really think they were going to go down either of two roads. They were either going to have a catastrophic event, an explosion, and possibly hurt or kill some of their people, or we were going to end up imposing so many sanctions against them that they just couldn't operate. Financially, it wouldn't be feasible.
3 workers have been injured in a fire at the Pinnacle pellet plant in Burns Lake. 2 employees were not badly injured, but a third was more seriously hurt. The fire was quickly contained and no equipment was damaged. WorkSafeBC is now investigating.
You know, I'll just say it blunt. When you make the newspaper and you're on the headlines of the news, that can, you know, significantly impact the company.
It became really clear to me that we were not as safe as we thought we were.
I believe it was November of 2014, Rob McCurdy, who was the CEO of Pinnacle Pellet, contacted me on the phone and he said, you know, I'd like to meet with you. Didn't know what it was about. He said, we'd like to meet face to face and talk to you a little bit about Pinnacle's position. I went prepared to say, you've got to pull up your bootstraps. You're facing penalties, you'll continue to face penalties, and you need to abide by the laws of the land, or we're going to continue down this rough road of us finding fault with what you're doing and penalizing you for it.
Al and I sat across with each other and I said, Al, you don't have to hit me over the head any more time. I got the message. We're going to change. I'll share the roadmap with you. We're starting a new page. We put dates, we put timelines, we put priorities. Some of the guys thought I was nuts. They're saying, you're just giving WorkSafe something to hang yourself with. And I said, yes, I am, but I believe in what we're going to do, and I know we're going to deliver on this.
They knew they weren't doing things as they should be. That was a starting point to say, once you realize that and take responsibility for that and acknowledge that, where can you go from there?
He made it very clear that they were the regulatory body. They weren't going to give us free passes on anything. But he also said that he wanted to give us some dedicated resources so that we could support each other. And that's truly what happened.
When the agreement first came down, I was skeptical. I came to our tailgate meeting the next morning. I presented it to my team. I said, we're going to engage in a relationship with WorkSafe. You could tell my team looked at me and thought, are you crazy? This will never work.
I can remember it to the day. We rolled out this program called Owning Safety. Everybody's eyes rolled in the room, right? It's another safety program coming in.
In the most basic terms, the Owning Safety program was about setting clear goals. 0 incidents, 0 fires, and complete employee buy-in. But that's not actionable for employees. So from there, it was about creating a series of 7 critical focus areas.
My partner, Jeff, and I would be visiting each of the facilities doing baseline inspections to determine where they were with those 7 elements, and then to provide guidance and assistance on how to bring those areas into compliance.
People don't tend to like change very much. When you try and introduce new policies and procedures and stuff like that, there's always a fight, there's always a pushback.
There wasn't a lot of trust. I think outwardly we talked about wanting to change the relationship, but both sides were sort of holding back just a little bit to see what the other person was actually willing to commit to.
WorkSafe came back with basically one guiding principle. They said, we're going to judge your safety progress not by what the senior executives say, not by what the plant managers say. We're going to judge your progress based on what your hourly employees say and the actions that they do. That was incredibly powerful for us because we knew if we did not connect with our employees that we would not be successful in this journey.
It has been night and day since. By working together, we had 100% employee buy-in.
Our mill started to get cleaner, and all these hazards just started rolling back.
I've seen the crew morale improve. People are part of the process now. They're owning safety. They're being recognized for their involvement.
We had to be different in the way that we dealt with them. And I think that willingness to be different, to assess their commitment and to cooperate and work with them is what has brought us to the point where we are with this employer today, where we see them not only leading as an individual employer, but they've also taken significant steps to influence their colleagues across the country as well as internationally.
What I see is engagement. I see supervisors, I see operators, mechanics, and millwrights all feeling part of a better operating, better functioning Pinnacle Pellet.
I have not had an order in 2 years. We're coming up on 2 years accident-free. 2016, we're smashing our budgeting numbers, and this has been the best year in the Pinnacle's history.
This was a huge change for us. Having us all muster around owning safety, guarding those priorities against all other distractions, to see that successful really reinforces that that's a really key thing and a great way to do change management.
It's nice to see a company put their money where their mouth is and stick with it like Pinnacle has.
It is possible to form these partnerships and to come to a common goal.
I love it. It's probably the best place I've worked at. It's not every day you get to rewrite procedures to make a plant better.
Safety is our business. It's the first thing that comes up in the morning, and it's the first thing that we are thinking about when we leave at night.
It makes me feel very proud. It makes me feel the proudest when I'm able to send my employees home the same way they came in the morning.
So as Pinnacle showed us, safety doesn't just happen. It takes commitment, collaboration, it takes a lot of hard work and action. It takes hard work throughout all levels in the organization. This particular video speaks to ownership, responsibility, collaboration, and culture as part of that journey that Pinnacle was on and continues today. It speaks to creativity and working relationships, the right people at the right time, under the right circumstances, all coming together in the pursuit of healthier and safer workplaces. So in closing, I would like to ask you and leave you with one thought. In your workplaces, is safety a priority or is it a core value? And indeed, if it's not quite a core value yet, what do you need to do to get there? Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. My pleasure to be here.